Good morning and welcome to Mornings at the Allotment. Several people have commented on the size of my so-called shed, and since this is a very marked difference between our German garden houses and your typical UK allotment shed, I've decided to do a video showing what it's like, how it's built, and what we do with it. And because my fellow garden YouTuber Rue over from Rue's Life has just put up her new garden shed, we've decided to do a collaboration. She also filmed a shed tour, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So you can head over there and check out her shed that I'm actually kind of jealous of because it's so snug and cozy, which mine clearly is not. The sheer size of our garden house, as we call it, Gartenhaus or Laube, is probably the first thing you notice. And we didn't build it, it was here when we got the allotment. And the main part, this wooden part, has 16 square meters. And then it has the original tool shed that's attached to it, which is made out of stone and actually stays quite cool, which is 4 square meters, and it has the covered veranda in front of it with another 4 square meters. And all in all, the 24 square meters is actually what you're allowed to have. So the person who built it absolutely maxed what we're allowed to do. Our plot neighbor directly across from us kindly allowed me to show you her garden house. And here you can clearly see why we call them garden houses in Germany and not sheds. This is your standard garden house. They're solidly built out of stone, some out of wood, with a full kitchen living area in the ground floor and a sleeping loft above. Many have chemical toilets and solar panels on the roof, so people can stay here for a night or for the weekend. Now, the reason I call this a shed and not a garden house is because of the way it's built. It just has these thin weatherboards and nothing else, and it's drafty, and it does have more of a shed-like feel than the other garden houses. Now, I'm not quite sure why we have mosquito netting here, because the whole place is so drafty that mosquitoes can come in anywhere, but we do. And of course, as you can see, we have lots and lots of space. And I can actually turn in here and film in here and can move in here and don't have to take individual shots. So let me just start with the kitchen area. We don't have running water in here. So I usually get water from outside and wash up in the washing up bowl in summer outside, of course. We always keep some water here for drinking purposes. My teacup, my tea caddy, toilet paper. Now, we don't have a toilet. I would love to have a composting toilet, but they're expensive even if we make it ourselves. So yeah, we make do without. We have lots of pots and pans here as well, because right outside the shed here we have the barbecue, and this is actually where I boil my water, which I've just been doing. And I'm wondering why it hasn't boiled yet. All right, so I've got my tea and I'm back. So let me show you what else we have here. Right above this kitchen area, you can see, this is very typical, that we have holes all over the place under the roof. And actually, when we got this place, the roof was leaking all over. And basically the floor was wet whenever it rained, and we really couldn't store much in here. So last year, my brother-in-law and my partner redid the roof, and they actually stuck with this type of roof, even though it means it gets very hot in here very fast in the summer. But it also means that we can use this as basically a second greenhouse in the spring and in the fall. So right now, for example, I have these plants in here. I put them outside during the day and take them back inside in the evenings. When the table runs over, we have too many plants, we can also put them in the shelving unit back there by the window, which is also where we can overwinter our plants that aren't quite frost hardy. It always stays a couple of degrees warmer in here. So back there we have the shelving unit for all the fleece coverings and netting, and for the bubble wrap for the greenhouse, and we have the bamboo canes and other tomato canes. The sink back there I'm hoping to put outside sometime this year. I want to build a little shelf, or actually I've asked my partner to build something. We have running water actually right in our garden next to the water butt. So I'd like to put that there somewhere, and then use the sink to clean the harvest, for example, or to do some washing up. My cardboard stash back behind the table. And these are the hand tools that we use almost daily. What we don't store in here, even though we have the space, is any power tools, anything expensive, because there have been thefts on the site, and even though the shed is locked, we just don't want to risk anything. So yeah, what we have in here is tomato ties and gloves and the boots and shoes down there, and then the bins we have things like bird food that have to be stored in containers because there are rats and mice around, extra clothing, blankets, that type of thing, and then of course all the containers we collect to bring home the harvest. However, to be quite honest, except for storage purposes, this is the place that we use most, the paved area right in front of the shed. The table is big enough to fit most of our family or a couple of friends once we're allowed to do that type of party again. And this is actually where we sit until it gets dark or beyond. And when the weather gets bad, we go home. It's not that far. I mean, if there's just a little rain shower, we'll go inside the shed for a bit or inside the greenhouse. But most of the time, when we're here, we just want to enjoy the garden and not sit inside the shed. And as you've seen, unlike Rue's shed, it's not very cozy, it's not very snug. It's just a utilitarian place. And I love having so much space, and I love that we can use it as a second greenhouse. But we have no ambition whatsoever to make it into anything more comfortable or living room feeling. So I hope you were able to get an idea of what our shed is like, how we use it. You probably won't be seeing much footage from inside it in future, simply, as I said, because we prefer to be outside. So don't forget to head over to Rue's channel to check out her shed, and I hope to see you again here in a couple of days for the May allotment tour. Bye!